of their child in tragic situations, but many in situations where it was a police involved shooting of an innocent person. And these are mothers who have come together as a result of their tragedy and have worked hard to stand with other families who have faced these types of tragedies to be able to support them. And, you know, one of the beautiful things about the mothers of the movement is they always make it clear that they're not looking to have any other members of the club. They're looking to make sure that policing in this country is done in a constitutional manner, which is why they've stood with some of the recent families. The Arbery family is one. The George Floyd family is another, and they've been a big part of the progress that we have made and played a major role in the foundation for the types of convictions, frankly, that we saw of police officers on both federal and state levels in the Minnesota and Georgia case, among others. So we really applauded their participation in the convention. And then, of course, you know, our convention, we have a major women's luncheon that was participated by Tanya Lombard, who's one of the chief executives at AT&T and also a board member of National Action Network, along with Jennifer Jones Austin, who is one of our board members, but she's also the executive director of the Federation Protestant Welfare Agencies and is the daughter of the late great William Augustus Jones of Bethany Baptist Church in Brooklyn, a historic figure in our own time. And so we were so pleased mainly though to see the thousands of you that participated in the convention and the various programs that we had. And just in case they're listening, we want to give a particular thanks to the 5 district attorneys in New York City, all of whom participated in a special, what I always refer to as our legal night panel at the convention. And it was great to have them. They were also joined by the district attorney, Larry Krasner from the great city of Philadelphia. And that was important. And we mainly laid it out so that the NAN youth, many of whom work through the NAN Youth Huddle, was able to participate and ask some of their questions to the district attorneys who are, in fact, at least on the local level, the chief prosecutors in the various counties. And so it was a very successful convention. And of course, we are building towards our convention for next year and continuing out the year here at National Action Network. And some of you may know in the spring, in the late fall, we do our Triumph program. Of course, we do our holiday programs during the Christmas and Thanksgiving season. And in the summer, we always have a summer event centered around our social justice work. Last year, of course, we had our commitment to justice march in Washington, D.C. So again, it has been a busy year so far. It's been a good year. A lot has been accomplished, and we look forward to accomplishing so much more as the years goes on. Before we get started, we always take time, first and foremost, to thank the staff at National Action Network, without whom we could not produce Legal Night. And of course, we have Derek Perkison, who's with us tonight, who's our New York City crisis director and also New York State coordinator. Ashley Sharpton, who heads up the Youth Huddle here at National Action Network, but for Legal Night and also for so much of our other National Action Network work. Ashley Sharpton is our czar of virtual connections and access to social media. The work that she does with that is absolutely tremendous. And of course, bringing Legal Night to all of you is a big part of her efforts with regard to her social media and virtual connection work that she does not Huddle, which is growing and spreading across the nation. So we should always give Ashley a big hand for the work that she is doing on behalf of National Action Network and on behalf of the youth and finding the young people today who are going to be the leaders of tomorrow. Always give a very special shout out to one of our main administrators here at National Action Network, and that's Patrice Perry. She's also a lead administrator for all things Legal Night, and we thank her for that. We always thank Winston Gilchrist, who's our NAN videographer, along with JT Trollender and the Supreme team, Katrina Jefferson, who's the coordinator here at National Action Network, Arthur Robinson, who's the facilities manager, and David Robinson, who works with him. Josh Curitan, who's a founding member of National Action Network. Josh is a retired.
No, you can't because they.
Josh is a retired MTA police officer, but Josh has always been a great part of the movement, always stood on the right side of justice, and always stood up as a police officer for ensuring that police acted in a manner that was consistent with the law and the Constitution. And so we always thank Josh Curitan. Of course, some of our other volunteers are Brenda Dock, Maxine Lewis. We always call Maxine's name. Maxine is someone who was at one time a crisis director here at National Action Network. For many, many, many years, she primarily was a chief administrative aide to the late, great Percy Ellis Sutton. And when she stopped working for Percy, she came full-time to National Action Network and was a tremendous, tremendous benefit to us here in that work and also in helping to create Legal Night. And so we always remember the memory and the life of Maxine Lewis. Culver McCall, who many of you may touch base with during the week, Brenda Rickards, and who am I forgetting? I know I'm forgetting some of our other members here, many of whom that work with Arthur, and so we thank them, Brother Mo, and others. We always also have to thank our Legal Night attorneys team. You have to remember that the attorneys come and they give of their time for free, which is a great benefit to all of you who participate. And so we really couldn't do Legal Night without the attorneys, again, who give so generously of their time and their effort. And our Legal Night committee includes Robert Bellison, Andrew Burson, David Blum, Gary Certain, Kyle Edmonds, Jeff Emden, Carmen Giordano, Pete Gleason, Kenneth Gilbert, Ted Kessler, Glenn Myers, Royce Russell, who's our guest speaker this evening, Joe Schmelkin, Ed Perchado, who's also with us tonight, and we're happy to see Attorney Perchado. Thank you for being with us, Brother Ed. And Joe Schmelkin, Denise Service, Wiley Stecklow, Kareem Vessup, Barry Fett. We always appreciate Barry and Gabe Harbis, And I'm just trying to think if I forgot Gary Certain. If I didn't mention Gary, Gary is always a great contributor to the Legal Night team. And so we thank all of them and we give them a very, very big hand for being a part of this. So with all of that said, we can start to jump right into it. You know, we always start Legal Night and we do it in three parts. The first part is our presentation. The second part is your part of the program. That's where we engage and allow you to engage with us with your questions and issues that you may want to bring and share with us, and that we try to help and give some direction to or some answers to in some cases. And then the third part, when we do the program live, and again, we're still technically all coming out of the COVID phase. And so we're really hoping that as we get through the end of this year, going into the new year, we'll also, in addition to maintaining our virtual presence, that we will also be back live in the House of Justice for our legal night. And so generally the third part of the program is we always leave time for you to have some time to speak privately with some of the attorneys that are participating. And because we're virtual, we can't do private, but those attorneys will often share their information in the chat room so you can reach out to them and follow up with them with private matters. So with all of that said, we want to kick off this evening, and we are honored to have as our presenter tonight, our dear colleague, Attorney Royce Russell. He'll be speaking on immigration and your temporary protective status. Royce is not only a great attorney, a great litigator, a great counselor, but he is also a great author and wrote a very significant book on equity in the criminal justice system and constitutionality in the criminal justice system. And the book is called Cardiac Arrest. He can tell you a little bit more about that himself. So Royce, thank you for being with us, and the floor is yours.
Well, once again, always thank you. Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here at Legal Night. I see the numbers are growing and growing and growing. The benefits of COVID is overwhelming. I don't know if we would have ever thought of this on our own, Michael, as many times, and between you, myself, Derek, Patrice, Ashley, Joe Smelkin, we sit at the table, we decide what topics we're going to talk and how we're going to present it, and how to make sure that we educate the community and make sure that we have a vibrant audience. No one could have ever thought that COVID would have been somewhat of an answer. I look at the numbers that are here today. I think the numbers are reflective to the name of National Action Network. We are now speaking nationally. And because of that, although we stay true to what is happening in the tri-state area, our presentations have been more nationally responsive and more globally responsive. And that's the type of world that we're living in right now. Cell phones are not just for the present and just what's happening in your neighborhood. It allows you to obtain and research and have information at your hand globally. And I say all that to say this, the topic that we're going to talk about is global in some sense, but you'd be surprised how it can directly affect you. Unfortunately, I will not be able to stay for the question and answering session because I am battling between being present here and my daughter appreciating my civic duty to the community, and also today's her birthday. So I will have to exit stage left, and it's nothing like a 16-year-old birthday that'll make you hit the door really quick.
That's
one, you want to make sure you protect those car keys because now you're getting to the point where you could drive. The other is that you just want to celebrate the moment.
That's right.
So as we are here today with the National Action Network, one of the things that I always say is that it's easy for someone to present. not the actual presentation, but listening to someone. But I want us to listen with the attitude of how this has affect me, and listen with the wherewithal who you're listening to, because everybody has opinions. The issue is whether or not the opinion really matters. And how do you know whether the opinion really matters? You know that, by the way, hold on, I'm doing some things here on the screen. There we go. By what you can learn from their background. So please, I put my contact information in the chat for everyone to look. You can find me at www.r2esq.com. You can look me up, look up my background. I've practiced as a prosecutor in the state level, on the federal level, work with the Department of Justice and Immigration, now serve as a criminal defense counsel, specializing in civil rights, false arrest, police brutality, criminal defense in the state and federal level, sit as an arbitrator and mediator for financial institutions and on other matters, sitting on the board of the Eastern District, which is the federal court, and the Southern District for arbitration and mediation, because we find in our community that litigation that's going to trial and spending money on lawyers sometimes is not the best way to resolve matters. So mediation and arbitration, which we're used to as a culture, bringing and resolving our issues among ourselves, we're finding that that is becoming the new way to resolve issues. And they're using this fancy term called alternative dispute resolution. We know it as just meeting at the table downstairs, right? And let's just resolve this matter. And so I say all that to say that here I am. And as Michael said, I wrote a book called Cardiac Arrest, A Tactical Guide on How to Handle Unlawful Police Stops. You can look me up. You can have me as a resource. So now, the focus today. What made me think of this topic is that myself and Ed Pichardo is here on with us today. We do a show every Wednesday at 4 o'clock called Speaking Legally. And what we do is we look at legal issues throughout America and make sure that we tie it to a cultural spin, and make sure that culturally we know what's going on and how these laws or what's going on politically in the world affect us directly. It's another way of enhancing and developing nights such as Legal Night and making sure that our community is informed. So what have we seen in the media in a large scale? What we have seen is the conflict regarding Ukraine and Russia, the takeover, the war, and the effects that it's had on the United States and effects on us directly. And what do I mean by that? The United States have trade sanctions. The United States are pushing and putting pressure for financial sanctions. And what has that done in turn? That is create inflation and disruption of the economic cart within the United States directly. And what do we mean directly? All you have to do is fill up a tank of gas, fill up your car with a tank of gas, and you'll see how directly. Go to the grocery store and see how prices are skewing upwards. That is part and parcel due to the sanctions that have to be levied in order to, quote unquote, to some degree, right the world and make sure that we play our part in preventing what some is called genocide and others are called a travesty of war. How else has that affect us? Well, that affect us through what I'm going to talk about today, which is temporary protective status. I promise you I will not be long because I know we're here to have questions answered, but this is the price of admission of coming to Legal Night. You do have to hear from the attorneys. Hopefully you'll find it educational and informative, as Ed says all the time, and it's the quantity, not the quality. So we'll make sure that we end it short so we can get to your questions. So we know that Russia is attacked the Ukraine, and Ukraine is about 43.7 million people. We know about 4 million have fled, refugee status, other status throughout the country. And so we have heard stories, at least I've heard stories on how Africans that live in Ukraine and African Ukrainians are being mistreated. They're being the last on the bus to get to the refugee camps. They're not afforded the same opportunities that others are afforded. And this is not anything that we haven't seen before. We've seen this before, but we still need to educate ourselves because we never know who we know and who we can come in contact with that we can give a piece of information. And the information that we're talking about tonight is what we call a temporary protective status. And that's an immigration term. What does that mean? Well, that is a status that is granted upon those that live in the country for which they either seeking residence in the United States or they're in the United States and they can't go back to their country. And they can't go back to their country for three or two reasons. One is merged within the other. One is what we see in Ukraine, that there's a war and there's conflict. And so therefore they can't go back. Two is extraordinary circumstances. That usually deals with natural catastrophes, something that happened in the region that won't allow someone to go back to their country. And then the other one is an offspin of war, one country taking over another, but civil war, civil unrest, some persecution that does not fall right in what we call quote unquote asylum that we may have heard of before, but makes it very clear that you cannot go back to your country. And so when we look at Ukraine's, there's about 350,000 foreign Ukrainians in the United States, and they are here in various forms. Either they are citizens.
Just real quick, the last final call that we got,
they became natural citizens.
Minister mentioned something about the family.
Someone's phone needs to be mute. The other category is legal permanent resident, what we call green card holders. And the other group are just people that are here illegally. Well, what United States has said is that if you fit in any of those groups, we're going to bestow on you this temporary protective status, which allows you to stay in the United States for a period of 18 months. So if you're in the country illegally, you can apply for a temporary protective status. If you're seeking to come into the country, you can apply for a temporary protective status. And therefore, you will not be removed or deported from the United States because of your status and because of what is happening in your country. I think someone needs to mute their phone. So in having a temporary protective status, that doesn't mean that, one, you have all the rights of someone who is here legally. It means that your status is what we call, or your ability to be removed from the United States is what we call deferred. That means no one will remove you from the United States. You won't be detained. You'll be able to go about your life. One of the benefits is that you'll be able to work legally and what we call receive employment authorization. And so that allows you to pay taxes. That allows you to obtain employment legally. And you don't have to worry about whether or not you're going to be stopped or detained, or you're going to be housed in a jail because you don't have status. Also, what the United States has done is that they have granted special status to students who come from the Ukraine, students that may have applied to come to the United States and have yet to receive their acceptance in accredited college, and thereby will have their F1 visa, which is a student visa, approved. What the United States has said is that you won't have to worry about the acceptance. We'll allow you in the country. You just show us that you're willing to continue your academic achievements. So why is all this important, and why are you talking about the Ukraine, Mr. Russell? Well, temporary status, protective status, is not only just for those who live and are affected by the Ukraine-Russia conflict. It goes beyond that. It affects those that are in the Sudan. There's civil unrest in South Sudan. People that look like us, people that act like us. It affects temporary protective status, gives you protection for those that live in El Salvador because of the natural and environmental catastrophes there. temporary protective status will protect those who live in Haiti because of the unrest and because
Thank you for that, brother.
catastrophe
All right, so
in
brother
their
Nolan,
region. Somebody needs to mute their phone. Thank you.
because during
Nolan, I
Ramadan,
think that's you. You need to mute your phone. Thank you. There are other regions that affect people like ourselves, and this temporary protective status allows you to stay in the United States. Now, it is not necessarily a pathway to become a citizen. However, there is no law that says that once you have this temporary protective status, that you can't apply to become a green card holder, a legal permanent resident. And how would you go about that? You would go about that in the traditional ways that most people that come into the United States become residents, either one by way of marriage to a US citizen. And because you have your temporary protective status, despite the fact that you may have come into the country illegally for those who did, and for those who came in because of whatever strife is in their country, you'll be afforded to be able to do that. Now, once again, temporary protective status is not a shield where you can do whatever you want and you're not removed from the United States. If you commit a crime, if you do something that violates the tenets of being here in the United States can remove you. Now, what they will do is that they will not remove you to the country that you sought temporary protective status from, but they will send you somewhere else. So it is what we call stay away, get away. You got to stay away from here, and we're going to make sure you get away from here, but you will not go to your own country. So sometimes you'd be surprised. Canada will take sometimes people. Other countries in the surrounding area will take those that may have violated the tenets of temporary protection status. Now, we're talking about close to 59,000 people that are in the United States. And you can do the math when it comes down to the most populated states. So this is something that if you know someone in your community that comes from any one of these countries, once again, Haiti, El Salvador, Sudan, Ukraine, that may be seeking some type of relief, you don't know. This can possibly be a way that they establish themselves here in the United States, which then can lead to adjustment of status and becoming a green card holder in some shape, form, or fashion. More importantly, this temporary protective status will allow those who are here in the United States to work and to maintain a living while in the United States, and they do not have to be fearful if they're stopped or if they're detained. So that's what I briefly wanted to talk about in reference to today's presentation. I want to put a plug in again to make sure that you guys go on Facebook, R Square ESQ2, and come and join us in Speaking Legally. Last week, actually this past Wednesday, we talked about the indictment concerning the Lieutenant Governor Brian Benjamin. We talked about Governor Hochul and her wanting to change the law here in New York, having folks removed from petitions in reference to running for office. We talked about the new law in Georgia as early as April 12th. Now you can carry a gun unsealed in the streets of Georgia. You can walk around with a gun. And what we need to do culturally to combat that or to join that effort, since everybody's exercising their Second Amendment right. Talked about Trump and him being fined $10,000 for every day that he's held it. He's not complying with the judge's order. So stay tuned to that. Stay tuned to Legal Night, where you can get the education that hopefully will put you in a better position as you attack your legal challenges throughout the world. I can stay for some brief questions as to this topic matter, but I know I have a birthday cake calling. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Royce. And let me start with the first question. Maybe you can chime in. I know a lot of people have been asking us about it. The whole Title 42 issue with regard to immigration status as it relates to medical conditions, certainly the COVID, the Trump administration had implemented Title 42. I know the current administration is debating whether to lift it or not. And what's the impact of that, if you know, and if you can share?
Well, I mean, it's a very gray area, right? Because to be honest with you, I think that nobody wants to open the floodgates to allow the freedoms in the movement that has been going on previously, because we really haven't take hold of how to really deal with what we're being presented with as far as COVID is concerned, right? I think the Supreme Court has been very heavy-handed in reference to admonishing and making sure that they keep some of the Trump's regulations in check and overruling them. But I don't know that any party, Democrat included, is willing to take the massive step forward to say, all right, back as usual. You know, Ed and I, we debate this all the time, whether or not the Democrats are doing the right thing. Are they kicking down the door? Are they just opening it up and peeking in? And this is one of the issues that we talk about on a routine basis.
Right. Yeah. No, it's a significant one, and the whole immigration question, obviously, for the U.S. We've come a long way from simply, having the doors open to those who are looking for a new home, as is inscribed on the Statue of Liberty.
And Mike, what I will say also is that, and we've talked about this before, and Ed and I, we talked about it. I'm so glad that he's on today because he can speak to this, is that what we need to be mindful as a community, and I want everyone in Legal Night to really understand this. People nowadays, political folks nowadays, they are no longer talking just to be talking. What is said today, although rejected, can become law tomorrow. Understand, the talk that you hear now, it is not rhetoric. It is not just something that you should just brush off. Those conversations are being had over and over and over and over until it actually becomes reality. The conversation of being able to carry a gun because you have a permit out in the open in Georgia, Atlanta, that was a conversation that happened a long time ago. And it was squashed, and it happened again, and it was squashed, and it happened again, and it was squashed, and it happened again. And now it is actually law. So yes, what someone does today, what Trump has done, and what we see other politicians do that may seem far-fetched, even when we talk about critical race theory in Florida and what they're doing there, it's talk today, but it can very well be law tomorrow.
Right, that's for sure. All right, so why don't we do this? If anyone has a quick question for Royce, because he's got to go to the Sweet 16, we can, you can put your hand up and we can bring you in for that. That would be a question on Royce's topic. Is that Galaxy A12?
You said we gotta ask a question on this.
Yeah.
At this time, it's just a topic.
Galaxy, I think it's Galaxy A12. I think he had his hand up. Did you have your hand up? You can nod and then they can. All right, okay. All right. Anyone else that has a question specifically with regard to Royce's
Mike, I can stay to 7:45. So
all right.
So I'm here to 7:45.
All right. So Royce, again, thank you so much for your presentation. So we're going to go to you guys. We'll try to pick you up in the order that you indicated that you had a question. We always ask three things, basically. One is that you remember that there are going to be a number of people that have questions. So we want to make sure that you be mindful of the person coming behind you. Two, we always remind you that we understand that being in confrontational issues and litigation issues, in legal issues, can be stressful, and particularly sometimes your adversary in these situations or opponents, you may not have nice things to say about them. We always ask you to be careful with speaking adversely against someone personally in a public forum, because that could open you up to defamation charges. So we ask you, please be careful. And then we always, of course, in a joking way, say that, you know, if you have just committed a crime, please do not confess it when you're speaking to us, because that not be good for you. So we have people lined up. Why don't I do this? I'm going to take the three hands that are up in the order that they went up. So one was Michael Williams. Let's take him first.
Hi, how you doing, Mike?
How are
Can
you?
see? I'm a member of National Action Network. Remember, I used to have groups there.
Yes, you are.
You did a lot of good work there. I appreciate you guys for all that you have done. My reason for being on this call tonight is for legal advice. My mother, you met my mother. Now she's 84 years old, and she had round-the-clock care. And during that care, you know, one of her aides had made him neglected her, and she fell and you know, hurt her hip. She fractured her hip. Now she has a rod in her leg. She's actually in rehab right now. We've met with the owners of the agency, and it was pretty much a joke. So now I'm looking for legal. We're going to move forward. And I'm, you know, instead of going to Jacoby and Myers and all of the stuff, I said to my sister, I said, listen, I actually called National Action. I said, I wanted to speak to you. So I'm on this call tonight for some direction on this. You know, my mother, she knows you and Rav, y'all go back a long time. She's one of the Harlem socialites. And we are trying to attain an attorney and advice on how best to move forward. With someone, and I dare say with someone of our own persuasion.
Right. Okay. Well, we can certainly facilitate you speaking with an attorney about that. I don't know, before they go, Royce, you want to chime in at all on that, or?
What I would say is that that is not necessarily my expertise. However, I appreciate you coming to Legal Night to seek us first to see who could manage that. And we have people on our team that will fit your requirement outright and straight up, and we'll be able to give you the consultation that you need as well as represent you. So just hang in the background. We'll get you that information, Mike. All right. That's easy.
Great. Not a problem. And
all right. Yeah, no, say that again, Michael.
I said, listen, I came through there. You know that we did a lot of work.
That's right.
With in regards to the public, and having groups there, and you know, helping Obama get in office.
No, that's right. That's right.
I'll be back.
Yeah, we remember you well too, and you know, and we appreciated what you did then and what you're doing now, and definitely we will hook you up with someone that can you know, follow through with you on and get the full sense of what those issues are.
Thank you, man.
All right.
Thank you,
all right. All right. Next up, I in what I originally had indicated was Michael A. West. I'm by the way, I'm just not calling on the Michaels first, is that they were the first two that had their hand up. Michael West.
Good evening. How are you all? I called into the Action Network today, and they told me about this call. So I'm very interested. And since this is my first, I will make sure that this won't be my last. I'm calling because I'm a pastor here in the Lansing, Michigan area. And our church had purchased a property back in 1999. In 2014, we received exemption for the property. The property is now worth over $500,000, and we are trying to sell the property. We've been trying to sell the property. With the exemption, it was told to us since 2014, and we do have the paperwork in writing that all we had to do was do something for the church at least once a year over there. We have done so every year. We've got our documentation and everything. We've done so every year. But the city of Lansing, because they want that property, it's a prime piece of property, they had to get to assess us taxes. And they didn't give us any warning, no notice. They just started assessing taxes to us. The taxes are outrageous. There was an article in our local paper, and there was an article in one of the news stations about this, but they continue to try to mess with us. They try to assess levies on us and things of that nature. We do have all of our documentation, and we have our ducks in a row, and we're seeking some type of understanding and legal advice. We went to the tax appeal board, but they didn't hear anything we had to say. So we're just looking for some type of guidance to overcome this situation, because it is they want to tax us. First, now they say we owe them over $55,000, and the taxes are just outrageous, and we're exempt. So I called the Action Network this afternoon, and the gentleman gave me the Zoom information, and so here I am.
All right. Well, we thank you for being with us, and others can chime in. I'll start. I think the first thing that we may want to do with you is you need to probably reach out to the Michigan State Attorney General. As a charities, and again, I'm not sure in Michigan what the individual roles are. In some states, it's the Secretary of State, but in many states, charities, which churches are, will fall under the Attorney General. And in fact, in many situations, if you were going to sell a church property, you would have to go through the Attorney General's office to get the consent of the Attorney General to do so, because it is a charitable entity that is exempt from all taxes, particularly the real estate tax and the sales tax. Now, sometimes in different jurisdictions, they may have some administrative rules that need to happen to ensure that you're qualifying for the tax. So all of that will have to be looked at. And so we definitely can, help you address that, find a person that you can work with to work that issue through. And we will, follow up on tomorrow. Obviously we can't do it tonight because we're going to have to connect you with someone, and we certainly will do that. But those are the issues that even tonight you may want to look at on the website of the Attorney General, because that could give you some indications of the way that you might need to go. And then Patrice will put the number, the direct number that you should reach out to tomorrow, so we can speak with you more directly about it tomorrow.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you so very much.
All right. You're welcome. And I don't know if anyone else wanted to chime in at all, add anything to that. Okay. All right. We're going to go next to Danielle M. Is she with us?
Yes, I'm right here. How you doing,
All right.
Mr. Michael?
All right. Good evening. How are you?
Hello?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Good evening, Mr. Michael. How are you?
I'm good.
Now I can hear you.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm sick with allergies real bad, so you gotta excuse me. But I have a story because I need your help. back in 2000, July 24, 2000, my late husband was killed by Officer Ron Facello in Catskill, New York. So on Tuesday night, me and my friend, her name is Anita. She was supposed to be on, but she couldn't tonight. But she was on, and we was talking in general about police shooting all over the Capital District and all over the United States and stuff. And what happened was she asked me my late husband's first name and last name, and she couldn't find it at first. So when we hung up later that evening, I ended up finding the article and I sent it to her. So when I sent it to her, she called me back that same night. And she when she called me, she told me that my case was reopened by the internal probe. And I was like, no, that case has been closed. She's read it, and I said no, because you beat it. So after we got off the phone, I was able to read it, and I went downstairs and I talked to my daughter and my young son, and the case is reopened by the Turner Pro. Now this is my youngest son, Tyrone. Tyrone was a baby when my late husband had passed away. He was 7 months old. My daughter Tiana was 3 years old, and my son Robert was 7 years old. Now Tyrone don't have a chance to ever meet his father because he got killed. I need help. I don't know what else to do. When that happened, I tried to get Al Sharpton up to Catskill, New York, and he was banned from up here coming up by the neighbors and stuff. And I would like to know what could I do, because it affected my daughter when we saw the George Floyd case, and we saw Gianna watch her father being murdered. I saw that and brought tears to my eyes because my daughter Tiana is 25 years old, and she had tweeted on Twitter when that happened about her late father, and it bothered me because Tiana was younger than Gianna, and it bothered me. It brought me to tears because now my two youngest kids, which is older grown kids now, gonna be able to her father ain't gonna be able to walk her down the aisle. Tyrone, he's never gonna get to know his father. So I would like help because the case is reopened, and I just need help now.
Okay. And what court is the case in? When you say the
It
case
was
is
in
reopened?
Yes, the Eternal Probe opened it back up. My late husband name is Tyrone Jones Sr., and my youngest son name is Tyrone Jones Jr. It's in Catskill, New York, and the Eternal Probe has opened it up since 2021.
Okay.
I
And
had sent yesterday, I'm sorry. Yesterday I had sent yesterday, day before, I'm sorry. I sent it to Derek, and Derek called me today. I sent a copy of the death certificate because there was a lot of underhand cover. My sister Nisi, she had went into the rent office that next day to get an application from housing, and she saw the video, but when she said something to the manager had me up and deleted the video and everything, and I didn't know what else to do. But now that it got reopened and stuff like that, I want to know what I do,
right.
because
Okay.
I
All
still
right.
want to
So now
bring charges.
which agency did reopen the case? Was that the police department, or was it the district attorney?
I don't know. Oh, I don't know. It just said internal probe.
Okay. And you sent copies of that documentation to Derek Perkinson?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So then I take it
Just to be
that
clear, it's with the Eternal Affairs.
So it's with the police internal affairs.
Yes.
Okay, and
Okay.
you've got the information, right?
Yes. Well, I got
No,
it.
I was talking to
printed.
Derek.
Yes,
Oh,
I have
okay.
I have the email
Okay.
she sent. Yes.
All right, and we have the contact information?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So why don't we take a look at the paperwork and then circle back with you either tomorrow or Monday, okay?
What's your name again?
Okay,
Ma'am?
that's good.
What's your name
Danielle
again?
M. Jones.
Yep.
Danielle
Danielle.
M. Jones.
I got it. Thank you.
All right.
And also Derek was trying to tell me earlier too that y'all trying to get program up here with the lawyers, and I'm willing to be a member.
Joe
Okay.
been asking me to start a chapter in Albany. She's up there near Albany, so she's gonna work.
Oh,
with
that's great. Absolutely. All right. Thank you. And we'll follow up we'll
Thank you.
get the paperwork and follow up with you, okay?
Thank you.
All right. I think we're going next to May Waters. Good evening.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes,
How are you today? Thanks for inviting me.
thank you.
So I'm in the middle of a criminal appeal for my son, and the lawyer has made a really bad mistake. She filed a document that was untimely. She missed the deadline. And then the judge scolded her, and she continued to debate as to why she was correct. And then before I knew it, the two of them were debating back and forth. He's now dropping my son's appeal. So I really could use a good referral to a lawyer. It's in the state of Pennsylvania. But the other thing is that I've always worked with the National Action Network, and the Philadelphia chapter is well aware of our case. But unfortunately, when I reached back out to the president, I found out he died last month. And since then, I haven't been able to reach a live person in that office. I tried 2 different emails, and I tried a couple different phone numbers. I'm not getting answers. So I'm just not sure who I can reach out to in Philadelphia, because there's a timeline now. Now that the case has been dropped, I have to come in there really quickly and find another attorney.
Yeah. All right. So do we have your information?
Well, I did call the crisis hotline, and I could probably reach out to the same guy.
Okay.
I think his last name was Joshua Curitan.
Oh, Josh Curitan. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's do this. Why don't you call Patrice, what number you have for people to call tomorrow?
Oh, the 877. I'll send it to them.
All right. So we're going to have you connect with us tomorrow morning. There is a person, I would want to speak with him first, an attorney named Paul McDonald that's in Philadelphia that we could reach out to and hopefully he might be in a position to give you some direction. And yes, the Philadelphia, the chapter has been traumatized by the loss of Mr. Shepard, who is their leader, Paula Peoples, who's
Mr.
the state.
Smith.
Mrs. Smith, right, sorry.
Yes, Matthew
And
Smith.
Matthew Smith, yeah.
He was awesome. Awesome.
Yes, yes.
I was devastated myself. I just, he's worked with me for years. This case is old. It's been 6 years.
And Paula Peoples is also there. She's our state chair. So we'll try to work to, get you the right people to hopefully get the situation back on track. And then there are a number of options too, with regard, especially if an attorney doesn't do something in a timely manner.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. So check your inbox. I think Patrice got you some information to reach us tomorrow.
Okay, thanks.
All right, perfect. Next up is Bobby Irby. Is he still there?
He's on the phone.
All right, Mr. Irby. All right. All right, let's go to Brother Nolan. Good evening. Good evening. I think you're muted or you have to unmute yourself, Mr. Nolan, I think.
Hello.
Yes, there you are.
Oh, this is Ronald Eady. Hello.
Oh, yeah. Hold on one second. Galaxy A12. Just one
Yeah,
second.
Okay. That's me, Galaxy A12.
All right, you can hear me, Hardy?
Yeah, there you go. Galaxy A12. Just hold because we were trying to get with Mr. Nolan first. Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, how you doing? I'm a member at NAD, and I have a legal situation against the Queens County District Attorney's Office in Queens County, the Conviction Attorney Unit.
Okay.
I was railroaded 31 years ago, and I'm trying to get some help from NAD, and Derek Perkins is supposed to be helping me out, and I don't know what's going on with that situation with Derek. Is going to help me out or what? Derek, you there?
I'm right here. You had
How
an
you
email
doing?
today from Katrina Jefferson. We're letting you know that you and Mr. Gadsden are arranged for a meeting with the Queens DA. So I don't know what you're talking about right now, buddy. You have a meeting set up with Reverend Sharpton and the Queens DA as promised, and we are delivering.
Well, the email I have today, it don't say what you just said. It just said they're waiting for the DA office to reply back. But Reverend Al Sharpton gave a date, just saying he say he's available, but I don't have the date on the email.
Okay, well,
I mean, I don't have the dates to say he's available. He will
Okay.
be available.
we're
But
working
I
to
need
figure
dates
out
on
with
the
the Queen's
email.
office now, but we will have a date on the calendar very shortly.
Okay, so in reference, so y'all already talking to the DA office to set up a date with Melinda Katz, right? But I was discussing with the Rev was we wasn't gonna do a Zoom. We was gonna, have a meeting, sit down like we did 5 months ago at the table and talk. I don't know what's up with the Zoom
Rev said
situation.
he would do a Zoom call. He did not say an in-person meeting.
I didn't, Derek. I was present with Rev talk. I'm present. I could comprehend the conversation, brother. He ain't said Zoom at all.
He said a
But
call.
anyway.
All right. Well, let's not debate this now.
All right, but anyway.
Mr. Nolan, I'm aware of the situation, and I'm also aware of the statement that Reb made publicly with regard, which was at the convention, and so I am
Right.
also aware that the meeting with the Queens District Attorney is in fact being set up. So let's get it clear. We understand that your understanding is that will be an in-person meeting. So let's just get the facts and then we'll move forward from there. All right.
Okay.
But he's taking it on personally, so he's not going to drop the ball on that.
I appreciate it. I definitely need the help because they're trying to sweep my case under the rug. You already know the situation of my case anyway.
Right.
And it was wrong what they did to me.
No, we got it.
All I need is justice. That's all I ask for is justice.
That's right.
That's all I'm asking for. So justice for
Yep.
what they did to me. Because nobody's above the law. And those is in that conviction attorney unit and the DA's office under Melinda Katz, none of them are above the law. In my situation, what they did to me was wrong. But they're trying to continue to sweep my case under the rug and I went through several lawyers, and all the lawyers ran away from my case don't want to help me out because my case point directly at the DA's office, what they did to
Right.
me. They
Right.
maliciously prosecuted me for a crime I did not do. They planted a case on me. And I did my
Right.
old due diligence and got all the documents to prove racial discrimination and systematic racism and white supremacy in the Queens County District Attorney's office. And no lawyer
Right.
want to help me. So I
Right.
did everything pro se and got my case in the conviction attorney unit, which is showing no integrity. You know, it's a
Right.
conflict of interest.
Well, again, and again, I know that, Reverend Sharpton spoke to that with the district attorney sitting right next to
Present,
him.
right.
And he indicated that they are going to go forward with that. So let's get back with Derek. Let's get the facts straight, and then we'll move forward from there.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm looking forward to get a date
All right.
and we can take care of this in person.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it, Hardy.
Yes, absolutely. All right, we're
Thank
going
you
to go
very
to Galaxy A12. We were going to him earlier, but he's with us now. So Galaxy.
Hello?
Hold on, Mr. Johnson. We're going to Galaxy A12 right now.
Okay, sorry.
Hello? Hello?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Hold on.
Michael,
Yeah, there
Michael,
you
can
are.
you hear me?
Okay. Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, my name is Ronald Eady. Okay, I'm a truck driver, and what happened was on December the 27th, I was at work and I called, and my dog had got out. It was a domestic house dog, and he got out of the house, and I'd had problems with the local police force prior to, but what they did was they came out and they just murdered my dog. Okay, so I had a problem with that, and the police force in Fayetteville, Tennessee is real racist. I mean, it's an all-white force with one Mexican, and basically they had it out for me, and they maliciously took it out on my dog. Okay, so the housekeeper that was keeping my dog had some problems with after that, and the police came on they came to my house on a domestic, and they immediately just roughed me up and took me to jail, handcuffed me. And while I was handcuffed, the police officer that shot and murdered my dog confessed that he shot and murdered my dog. Okay. So anyway, they sort of picked on me and harassed me for quite some time. So what I did was I filed a $5 million lawsuit, and I charged them with the Ku Klux Klan Act, that new act that Congress created, the Ku Klux Klan Act, where it's civil rights in police force. You protect you from civil rights in the police force. So, they went and hired an expensive lawyer at Brentwood, Tennessee, which is right outside Nashville. And I'm trying to find an attorney to represent me of my same ethnic group, of my same persuasion, as the gentleman said earlier. And I need effective counsel to help me fight this case, because if I should lose, they'll charge me back and they'll take my house and everything I've worked for all my life. So basically, yeah, I need to find an attorney.
Okay.
And it's sad that they have maliciously, strategically prevented us from having legal counsel all over the United States, and it's the same way with organizing the Democratic Party. We can't really stick together. In every county in the state of Tennessee, is 95 counties. Every county, you drive into the county, on the county square, it says headquarters of the Republican Party, or it says Donald Trump headquarters, and what we need to do is organize so we don't lose this next election, because, it's going to be really devastating if Trump gets back in and he starts some concentration camps.
That's for sure. Well, let me do a couple of things. First, specifically with regard to the issue, Again, we're going to need you to reach out to the number that Patrice has in the chat room. It's
Okay.
the 877 number tomorrow morning, so we can really schedule that and also try to connect you with resources in Tennessee. Now,
Yes, sir.
let me say the second thing, and you should really hear me on this. What you really, really want is an attorney. If that's the case, that is an attorney that you get. You want to get an attorney who is competent, who believes in you and your case, and can really help you get it done, regardless of their language, background, or anything else. You want somebody who's on your side and is going to work with you. And of course, if that can be a a Black attorney, great. If it's a woman, great. If it's someone else, great. So long as they're willing to work with you, that they believe in your case, and they're going to give you the best kind of counsel that they can. So let's follow up tomorrow. We have resources in Tennessee, and we will try to get you connected with that. And Tennessee, of course, is an important state. It is a swing state. So everything else that you said with regard, to the political process is going to be very key, particularly in the elections this year, because this is a congressional election year that will lead into the presidential year 2 more years from now. So everything you said is an amen. And, make sure you, call the number tomorrow and we'll begin that process. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you.
All
right. Okay. I think we had up next is, well, let me go. I'm going to go to my brother in Nevada. Is that Mr. Kelb, I believe? All right. Does he have to unmute himself? I see your hand. We're trying to unmute you. Does he have to unmute himself? Yeah, you have to unmute yourself. Yeah, we'll try to, you see where you can unmute yourself? Because you're muted, so we can't hear you. There you go. All right.
Can you hear me now, Mr. Harding?
Yes, we can.
Good evening. I'm calling from the state of Maine.
Maine, that's right. That's right. I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. So we have a special needs child that is a brain cancer survivor. He's been 16 years cancer free. He has a cochlear. He's got pins from C1 all the way down his back, and it took one of his kidneys. Anyway, to get to the story, he was riding a school bus and he was attacked on a school bus on October 25th. Then the school asked my girlfriend to bring him in and we'd see what we could do about it. January 25th, put him back on the bus. He was attacked again with a safety coordinator aid on it. January 4th, I'm sorry. So now with all this going on, and we've been back and forth, I've called the Department of Education. I've called the Commissioner of the State of Maine of Education. She hung up on me and told me to get with Special Services. She wouldn't talk to me. I called Senator Bailey's office. I called the Attorney General, Aaron Frey's office, and they're the office that told me to call Civil Rights. Since this time it's all happened, they've erased the school bus videos, which we sent a letter and told them do not do that. They falsified all the documents from the nurse, the school nurse. And on the second time that he was hit, there's 50 minutes elapsed time before they took him off the bus, which they shouldn't have done it. It's only a half a block away, the EMT. They should have got somebody to take care of this child. We took him out of school and they said, well, come in and we'll see what we can't do about it. I told him there won't be a third time. So we tried to put him back on the bus. He wouldn't go. He's been traumatized. Now in this area where his spinal is, we're taking him to the doctor. He's under doctor's care now. It's done something, aggravated all the tendons and muscles in his spine again, up around his pins and rods. And now it might be an altering life event now that he's going to have to live with. On top of this, my girlfriend went in to get his Bluetooth, his speaker for his ear from the teacher. At the same time, this is 3 weeks ago, at the same time, they give her here. Oh, by the way, here's his diploma. This child is only 20 years old. He was not supposed to graduate until 2023. He did not get a transitioning IEP out. They violated his IEP. We've got negligence on the bus. They've destroyed tapes. They falsified documents. And everybody I've talked to, when I called the principal, he said, well, we love Tyler. We wouldn't nothing to do with him. And he said, well, we give him a diploma. I told him, you haven't given him nothing. That child earned everything in the last 20 years of what he's done. He can't hardly talk. He's got a second grade education, and there's a lot going on to this. So the Attorney General, when we called the civil rights, Joshua, right there, he said to get on the network tonight and talk to somebody. Nobody in the state of Maine would help us until the Attorney General spoke up. That's where we are right now. We have a serious problem. They have violated 3 of his federal rights, civil rights, and discriminated him by not going to let him cross the stage June 22nd, graduating on his diploma now. So there's a lot to this, Mr. Hardy.
Okay.
And we need help, because I heard Royce talk about he was a federal judge, a lawyer.
Mediator, yeah.
I think we need to jump past this hoop here and get a federal lawyer, a mediator, and get this going the right way. We have all of our documentation. We've got pictures, and that's where we are. And I appreciate your time.
All right. Well, thank you. How do you say your last name?
No, but here's my girlfriend. She's sitting here.
Oh, okay.
Let me turn it around. Here. Her name is Karen Novak.
Novak. Okay.
Yeah, he's my stepson, but that's
Okay.
her son.
Okay. All
So
right.
anything you need to
So,
say, honey.
no, I think we have it. And again, I think might be best suited here is not only someone that practices in the federal courts in Maine, but also someone that has some concentration in the education laws that apply particularly for special needs and other situations.
Yes, sir.
So, and there are people that we work with that have that exact background. So I believe we have a number in the chat room. And Patrice is sending you a message now, and we'll give you the name of that person directly by email. And in fact, if you put your email in there, we can probably get it to you tonight.
In the chat room?
In the chat room?
Yeah, send him a direct message. Look on the bottom still in the chat.
Can you hear him,
I
Karen?
can't hear her. Send him a direct
Yeah, she sent you a direct message.
Okay. I haven't seen it, but I'll figure it out.
All right. And then
Okay.
the number there too is the number that you can follow up with us if necessary, but we will be with, like I said, if we have the email, we'll get some of that information to you tonight.
Absolutely, sir. Okay,
All right.
I see the number. Please follow up with us number. Okay.
All right.
I got it. Mr. Hardy, thank you for your time.
Oh, absolutely.
And
You're
you
welcome.
know what? I appreciate the calls that both the gentlemen took. And we just hope to get something done here because the child should have a voice.
Absolutely. All right.
Thank
All
you,
right, so
sir.
we'll be speaking with you soon. Yep.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Next up is Claudette Coupadin. I don't want to mispronounce the name. Claudette. Oh, there she is. I see her. All right. Let's get you unmuted. Does she have to unmute herself?
Yes, you gotta unmute yourself.
All right, Claudette, you're muted on your end, so we've unmuted you. You now have to unmute yourself.
But
There you go.
Okay.
All right. Good
Thank
evening.
you. Good evening. Thank you for having me. It breaks my heart to hear that this is the same thing that's happening to me in a different situation. My son was wrongly convicted. And before this, I'm a nurse. And before this, I thought that everybody who's convicted was really guilty until it happens to my own son. It was a one-way justice in a big trial. She allows the prosecutor to present whatever, but when it comes to the defense, they say, I have evidence. She says, no, that's personal record. You're not gonna use that. And she just allowed the prosecutor to convict my son of the same kind of records. It was bias. We need a lawyer. And then we have this lawyer from CPCS in Massachusetts who screened the case, found multiple grounds, went and did a motion, filed the motion in November last year, is waiting for a court date. And 2 weeks ago, he sent us an email, and my son is still sitting in prison, send us an email, say, oops, I don't think I can win that case. So he took a 180, took a U-turn on us all of a sudden. Something smells like a dead rat. And I was listening to other cases. It looks like they block it. And I call everybody. I called the governor's office referred me to the AG's office. AG's office said, well, we don't handle that. You have to have a lawyer and look at, this is what our lawyer did. So we need somebody to stand with us. My voice is not alone, but I did something though. I filed a complaint against the judge. She's no longer a judge. It looks like she was forced to retire. And the supervisor judge is no longer there either. So I was able to do one thing. I don't know, maybe it was multiple complaints, but mine maybe was the icing on the cake. We got that.
Well, that certainly sounds like you took the right track there.
Yes.
And congratulations.
Thank you for that.
On that
And
part of it. When was the trial with your son? In what year?
The trial was May 28, 2019. So this May 28, next month, my son will be there 3 years. So I feel that once the judge got retired or forced to retire or got fired or something, that's when my son should have come home. She didn't allow us to present any evidence. And now, and she was convicted on no DNA, on nothing. Hearsay.
Right. Now, let me just ask a quick question, because since this was in what state is this?
Massachusetts.
This is in Massachusetts.
Yes.
And it was a state trial. It was a
state trial. He's at state prison.
Okay. Well, with regard to has he filed had his
filed
appeal?
a motion. He filed a motion. There was an appeal, and this lawyer told me he was experienced. Took the last of the money I had, $15,000, and did things backwards instead of raising an effective. The trial lawyer. We never saw an investigator or investigators' notes at the trial. We never saw expert witnesses. It was just me on my son's behalf, and the other side had the police and everybody against him. It was a lynching. But anyway.
No, I understand what you're saying, but once he was convicted, he did file an appeal.
He filed an appeal, and the lawyer.
Was the appeal heard
not successful? It was heard, and the three panel of judges told the lawyer, You're raising ineffective counseling. You should have filed a motion for a new trial and put all the error in there. He just he skipped this step, and went straight to the appellate court. And they said, we don't accept new evidences. We don't have all the trial records.
Right,
So
right.
this lawyer was in malpractice. So now I need
So they denied the appeal then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's
All
like
right.
we never had an appeal.
Right, all right. Was there an application though put in to preserve
the
the right to
DA
go to the higher court in Massachusetts?
He did. He went to the appellate court. That's all we did so far. And then CPCS took the case. CPCS found multiple grounds for appeal, filed the
Okay.
motion, did everything. And then 2 weeks ago, they told me, oh, I don't think I'm going to win that case. After you screen it and you found things, something smells like a dead rat here.
Right, okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yes.
Okay.
We need help. We need a law. I have no more money and we need somebody.
Right, okay. Now, do you have summaries of the case?
I have everything.
Okay.
I'm a good resource. I have appeal files answered by the state. I have the transcript. And guess what? The judge made about 100 bias statements putting my son down. And that had an impact on the jury. And then the only evidence my son had was exculpatory lab results to disprove their claim. Big evidence. We have exonerating medical records, lab results. And guess what? They were not allowed because the judge did not allow. The judge said, no. You cannot use medical record, but yet just allowed the prosecutor to convict with it.
Okay. All right.
One way.
Now, do we have the information in order to contact you?
Yes, I'll put it in there. I already put my phone number. I'm gonna put my phone number in my email.
Okay, so then
Yes.
we will, all right, so we'll reach back to you directly.
Thank you.
You know, to both get a fuller sense of,
Yes.
you know, the case, the group that took the case up, who was that exactly?
CPC.
Who is that?
CPCS, I think it's the state still. So now I don't trust them at all.
Okay,
It
are
looks
they
like-
attorneys? Are they pursuing
Attorneys.
the appeal to the higher court?
No, attorneys at Committee of Public Counsel. They're still state
Okay.
stuff. So
All
now
right. Okay, so yeah, we need to get a sense of what that is, and then we can go from there. All right,
Okay.
so we have your information and we can,
I'm gonna put it.
all right, okay, perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And but just FYI, I'm certainly, we're trying to, you know, move as quickly as possible so we can get
Yes.
to as many people as possible.
Of course.
So
Thank
I think the next person up is, I want to say is Cheney Jenkins. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. How are you?
Yeah, how you doing, sir? My name is, you already know my name is Cheney Jenkins. I have an issue. I was in family court trying to get my kids. The judge started banking on my background, which, I had got arrested when I was 14 years old. I did 19 years from that time. It was a lot of things that went on. And when I looked through family court, I went to family court, I see that they violated my rights as a kid. I mean? I never got none of those, I never got government services. So I started to complain to the judge. I started to complain, like, how could you look at my background when y'all didn't give me these services and they still didn't give me my kids? They took my kids away from me. They trying to make me look incompetent because I written them up. I went to the federal courts. I put in a 1983 and everything started to go haywire from there. I still don't got my kids. They falsifying documents.
Right. What state are you in?
I'm in New York.
So you're in New York? Which county? Which borough?
Kings County.
So you're in Kings. Okay. So we do have attorneys that are part of the Legal Night group that can, help address, family court issues. So do we have your contact information?
I believe I don't know, but I was at the national action today. I left my information there.
Okay.
So I don't know if he put it in there, but I have the 8.
Well, if you were here today, then we can get that information, and we'll have someone reach out to you in the morning. Is there an active case right now in the family court?
Right now in federal court, I had to dot a case down because they was doing too much, man. They was coming at me from all sorts of ways. The police, they didn't know that I knew a little bit of the law, far as when I was in prison.
Right.
I never did no vocational. I did academics. I was a law library clerk. So I seen the violations and I started to write up. I know how to research.
Okay.
And
so the case, you have a case pending now in federal court?
Well, I have the docket number, but I had to die it down because they was coming at me and I ain't have no help. They had all the lawyers in Brooklyn not helping me.
Okay. All right. When did you file the case in
that was last year.
Okay. And that was in the Eastern District Federal Court?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So let's see where, and you have, I guess, the documents and things that are associated.
I have a written mandamus that I written up, far as pertaining with the judge. They had stricken my name from the record. I caught that. I put that to the judge tried to overlook it in the federal court. I had to bring it back to her because that for judge see an error in the record, they supposed to correct it.
Right.
They was, and I was bringing it to their attention. They did. I don't think they like that because I'm not a. They feeling like I'm not a lawyer. I shouldn't know all that.
Right. Okay.
You know what I mean?
All
So
right.
they, so I'm
All right.
you know what I mean? I'm really looking to get some type of help because they're not giving me no attorneys.
Okay. All right. We got it. And we'll follow up tomorrow. We got the info here. We'll follow up tomorrow.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. All right. We're going to go to Patricia Thomas.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Good evening. Thank
Good
you
evening.
so much.
How are you?
I'm wonderful. I am so glad to have found out about this meeting. A dear friend sent me the flyer, and that's why I'm here tonight. I live in the state of Maryland, and I have been working with some dear friends trying to bring about some changes for people of color who live in condo associations and HOAs. As you know, condo associations and HOAs have governing documents that are supposed to help you to govern and to help everyone to work together to live harmoniously in a interest-owned community. Well, in the state of Maryland, there are so many loopholes because most of these are boilerplate. They think that all the government documents that you have is for everybody else, but for a certain group of people, they're not. So what a group of friends and I did this summer was to go to our elected officials and say, we will work with you to try to get some laws passed because the state attorney general said, well, the attorney general of our state said that there was nothing they could do until we had some laws on the books. And if we could get some people to work in the attorney general's office, some lawyers to be hired to take upon themselves these civil rights egregious behaviors that were happening to us. And mine in particular was just so horrible. That's why I'm here. I'm over the age of 65. I need protection. When someone in my community comes to me and says, you write the check and I tell you what it is, you just write it. Well, when they came to my husband and I, who are retired on a fixed income, and say, you have to give me $27,000 in 3 months, or I will put a lien on your house and find you X hundred numbers of dollars every day that the money has not been paid. I need help. Well, there was no help forthcoming because there were no laws that said, well, if they make this kind of a mistake, you can take them to court. In the state of Maryland, we have what's called the Maryland Condo Act, but it does not go far enough. There isn't a Bill of Rights to protect the people who live in this community. We worked very hard and very steadfastly with our delegates this summer to get laws together that would help all of us, to demand that people who are on boards of directors have education and training, that we have some kind of infrastructure funding that helps these communities. Nobody wants to look at condos and HOAs. They all say, oh no, we don't do what you have to have done. You have to go somewhere else. Well, where do we go? And it's happening mainly to people of color in this state. And when we speak up, oh, they don't like that at all. So therefore, they just push our stuff aside. So my friends and I, and they're on here tonight, they can speak for themselves and they'll tell you what they've been going through. Who helps us? I've gone to the Secretary of HUD. I've written to the Secretary of HUD. I've written to the Department of Justice, Civil Rights Division. And what they tell me is, well, you must get a lawyer. Well, if I'm on a fixed income, where's that money going to come from? There is no magic tree that's growing in my backyard that says you have, $5,000 or $10,000 to give a lawyer every time something like this happens. So if we still live in the United States of America, which we do, and we have a constitution that's supposed to protect all of us, where is our protection in condos and HOAs? Nobody wants to look at how people are struggling. They're losing their homes because you have boards of directors who are so vindictive, and they can throw a lien on your house, and the next thing you know, you're in foreclosure and you wind up with nothing. We're talking about generational wealth. Where is it going to come from if we can't have our own homes? If you can't maintain your home, you have nothing to pass down to your children. Not one single thing. So I want to know, is there anybody who can help me?
Right.
I need help.
Now, let me first, which part of Maryland are you in?
I live in Howard County, Maryland, in the city of Columbia.
Okay, so, all right. So, I think, well, one, you're gonna need someone, obviously, that understands the real estate practices in Maryland. And
Yes.
again, we do have some resources there. Do we have your contact information?
I will put it in the chat.
Yep.
All of it. I surely will.
All right, so then we can have the Maryland people reach out to you tomorrow directly.
That would be great.
And they are people that are familiar with the real estate practices broadly within the state. So that'd probably be the best place to start. All right.
That
So
sounds wonderful.
so long as we can reach back to you, we will have them do so promptly.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Excuse me, Michael, can you hear me?
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, did you get my information in your chat?
Oh, yes, Michael, we did. And we can get that to you as soon as we wrap up tonight. I just, can't do it right this second, but as soon as we wrap, we'll definitely get it to you.
Great, man. Great.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
You got me, Mr. Hardy?
Who's
Gregory
yes,
Johnson.
Mr. Johnson, we put you on hold while we spoke with Ms. Thompson. Yes, okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'm a Black inventor, the only inventor in the world with voice command patent. I eclipse Apple and Google as well. I created voice command travel directions, the wireless headset earplugs, cameras on a tablet. And so just about everything you see. And the United States Patent Office gave me the patent. My patent number is 104818. This is very vital. 10481860B2, entitled Solar Tablet Verbal. And I would like to get with Pete Budovich because you can run this cell phone and this tablet, it's solar without any cords. It's a green computer line. But I need to get vindicated, and I need attorneys and stuff in New York City that specialize in intellectual property on a contingency. Apple and Google has no chance. The United States Patent and Trademark Office is the most powerful intellectual entity in the world. And they said that I did file all that stuff 6-7 years before Amazon, 3-4 years before Apple and Google. That's why I was awarded a patent. How can you help me get vindicated? Because I need attorneys. I want to go to court in New York City, and I will win. There's no way. They don't even have a chance. I have patents and copyrights.
Right. Okay. Well, like you said, that's a highly specialized area, the patent laws. So we would have to, connect you with somebody who, is capable in that area. So you're just going to have to check back with us, and we can work on that.
And I don't care what color they are. I can be vindicated as long as they're intelligent and they're seriously circumspect and they want to win. Because I have all the paperwork, and people in your office have seen this too. I think Patrice, she pulled it up, and I just need to get lawyers on a contingency basis, and then I will deliver the victory. And they're making enormous amounts of capital on they're mimicking my work as an inventor.
Okay. All right. Perfect. So we got that. You got that, Patrice?
Yeah, you need to put it in the chat.
All right. Oh, you did? Okay. So Patrice just sent you a message, Mr. Johnson.
Appreciate that, because Gina has my address too. She's the one to send me some information about this meeting. So I'm excited about winning. This is what I do. And as an inventor, I eclipse Apple, Google, and Amazon. Amazon didn't come out to 2015. I first filed my first initial patent February 2nd, 2009. And my second one I filed in May 29th, 2015. That's the one with the wireless headset earplugs. It's all online, United States Patent and Trademark. You can see it.
All right. All right. Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, buddy.
You're welcome. We're going to go to Amy Johnson, and I'm also, looking at the clock. So I'm going to have to try to move a little quicker. I want to try to make sure we get, to as hopefully we can get through everyone tonight. Miss Johnson, Amy Johnson. All right. All right. Amy. All right, let's go to I believe Robin Tucker. Miss Robin Tucker. All right.
Yes. Good evening, everyone.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Robin, stay right there. And Amy, go ahead. Yeah, Amy. Oh, Amy, did we all right. All right, Robin, go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Robin, and I'm calling on behalf of my son. My son is incarcerated in New Hampshire. He's been there for 2 years. He's on his 5th lawyer. He has also come down with the COVID twice there. And just recently they had a raid and my son put his hands up. He said, "Ma, I put my hands up," because he said he didn't have no weapon or anything. And the police officers beat him and broke my son's leg. So now my son had to have surgery and he has 6 screws in his knee. So I need an attorney to help my child because they're really trying to railroad him. He said that he sold some drugs. He didn't lie about it. He said he made 2 sales. They got him for guns and some other trumped up charges. And the young man that had all of that, when they arrested my son, they weren't even together at the time. They arrested them at 2 separate times. And the young man that took the 15 to 30, he was the one that got arrested with the guns, the money, and the drugs. When they arrested my son didn't even have any drugs on him. No guns.
Okay. And this is in New Hampshire, you said?
Yes.
Okay. When was he convicted?
He hasn't even been convicted. He's been sitting there for 2 years.
So he has not gone to trial yet?
Nope.
Okay. All right. So let me ask you this question. So he must have an attorney that he's assigned to, right?
He just received his 5th attorney. He has had 4 attorneys and the DA doesn't want to come down on the terms. You want to bring all the charges down. You can't go from 12 charges and come down to 3 and you still carrying the 10 to 20. When does the time change?
Okay, let me ask you, do you have the information for the attorney that's currently assigned to him?
No, but I can get that information when
All
my
right,
son calls me.
All right, can you get that information and then reach back to Patrice, and then that would be the best place to start for us.
Okay, not a
All
problem.
right, all right, thank you.
No problem. So you want me to call the 877 number that I called this morning?
Is that right, Patrice? Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
As soon as I obtain the information from my son, I shall call Patrice back
All right.
and give her all the information that's needed.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Everybody
All
have
right.
a good evening.
Yep. All right, so Annette Walker, did we get you yet?
No.
Okay,
Hello.
yep, you're on.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm calling, and this is a very unique situation. My
Oh,
forefathers.
Annette, I want you to pause for 1 second, because I keep meaning to do this and I don't want to forget. I just noticed that one of our attorney members have joined us, so I just want to say hello to Attorney Kyle Edmonds. I know you've been with us, Kyle. I've been in between the different people. I've been meaning to welcome you and say hello and thank you again for being with us. Kyle is one of our long standing members of the Legal Night team, and we thank you again for being with us. Do you want to say a very quick hello, Kyle? Oh, he stepped away? Okay. All right. All right. Well, we'll get him when he comes back. All right. Ms. Walker, I'm sorry.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, I'm calling. We have a very unique situation. My forefathers, Wesley Davis, and along with some white Davis, we were the black Davis, they were the white Davis, and they started a company December 17, 1902, and filed their first tax return April 15, 1903, which we just celebrated Good Friday, 119 years. However, my great-grandfather, March 22nd, 1919, he deeded his land into the company for capital stock. And on September 21st, 1972, the white Davises dissolved their portion of the company, whereas my great-grandfather, when he had passed away, this information was actually hidden from us, and therefore the company has continued to operate, and it is a family business. It was built on a family business model. I actually have the family Bible, and I also went to the Mormons Research Family Center that also validates the same exact births, and my birth certificate showing my direct fiduciary relationship to the company, but the state of Louisiana. And I invite everyone to please Google the Davis Brothers Lumber Company of Ansley, Ansley, Louisiana. And when I filed into the federal court in Nevada, Las Vegas, with the IRS Form 56 showing my relationship that I'm a direct descendant to a family business, there were over 600 journalists that went to 117 countries and produced what is called the Pandora Papers. And I also invite you and your guests to please visit the YouTube $32 trillion Pandora Papers. I even got a tweet from Elon Musk congratulating us on the Pandora Papers and the Davis Brother Lumber Company. So these are the wealthiest people around the world. This company is generational wealth. And when you even Google the Davis Brothers and go into the gallery and look at the documents, you will see for the Hunt family, who this is where the documents were discovered by their historian, and also the Open Corporate in 2010 started a website that dug very deep dive into white collar crime to find out about all these offshore accounts. And again, it led back up to the Davis Brother Lumber Company. As of to date, there's 1,471,082 corporate groupings, people, municipalities, politicians, kings, queens, corporations around the world, and even with Mr. Elon Musk, who have actually been wrongfully taken the heirs of the Davis family. So we really invite the National Action Network. This is very huge. The Davis Brother Lumber Company, the heirs, we have also discovered they the original founders of Grambling State University, where everybody is somebody, with the legendary Coach Eddie Robinson. So I even want an attorney to come on board with me, where I filed with the NFL to be a Black female NFL owner as well. So again, this case has many, many layers, but at the same time, it's affecting a lot of people that has been very, very disenfranchised. But we have all of the documentation. We have the original deeds. We have the family Bible. We have the documents. And so we just need someone to, again, the whistleblowers. We asking people to please blow the whistle, just like Tulsa, just like the Bruce family in California. It's been 103 years, and the Davis family have been. I don't even know words to really say exactly how egregious this has been and continue. Right today, this is an operating company, and the Secretary of the State of Louisiana is sitting on our business page, the Davis family business page, family business, and say their role is a survivor of a family business. Like I said, that's sucking the blood out of our veins.
Right, right. So, Ms. Walker, let me ask, do we have your information?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, why don't you do this then? You know, again, Patrice has the 877 number in there. If you can just call that number tomorrow, so leave your information so we can get back to you. What I want to do is really have our national field person get in touch with. Are you located in Louisiana yourself, or?
No, as a matter of fact, I mean, I am actually in a disclosed location. We have very extreme concerns for our safety.
Okay.
And
no, I
yes.
understood. All right.
Yes.
So, you know, I want to be able to reach back to you because, you know, we want to get, again, there are lots of people that have, again, addressed these types of issues, particularly, you know, that originated in the South and the whole legacy of slavery in this country and the whole issue of reparations on many levels. And so, you know, we want to make sure that we can have the appropriate person, you know, reach out to you to see how they can best exploit the information you have to help you get to where you want to go.
one of the things I want to really share, and this is with all of the listeners, please, is the fact that, again, in this particular region, a lot of our history was buried and lost and stolen, and it's because it is legacy land that cannot be sold. And it is timber, it is natural gas, and my great-grandfather had 66,000 acres. So we want everyone to know not everyone was slaves. You had some people who were very wealthy, and they started the company with $100,000 in capital stock. And when you go into the gallery and you look and see stocks that they had in other companies and corporations in 1913, they had stocks in other banks, lumber companies, oil companies. I mean, this is what they had in 1913. So 100 years later, can you imagine with those stocks? And when people talk about generational wealth, this is how intelligent they were.
Right, understood. All right.
Thank you.
So
Yes,
make
thank
sure you
you.
do that, and we'll
Oh,
take
yes.
it. We'll take it from there. All right,
Thank
Jeremy,
you.
you are up. Jermaine, I'm sorry. Jermaine Galaxy Note 20. Yeah, there you go.
How you doing today?
We're good.
I'm sorry. I was trying dress shopping with my daughter. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Okay, so we have a situation at her school. 2 weeks ago, she was kicked out of a chair by another student. The school didn't call us, so she got home. She was complaining. She had a headache. The very next day, she was locked out of the school by another teacher, and they threw snowballs at her, and she was soaking wet. It was cold, and we in Michigan, so it had just snowed. So we then, my wife went up to the school, and try to find out, get some information on what was going on and how we can rectify the problem. Nothing came about it. They told my wife that my daughter just need to speak up more. The teacher yelling at her to just get away from the doors, stay outside till it's time to come back in. They act like that wasn't an issue when she was cold, and she had just got over the flu. Then yesterday, my youngest daughter at the same school, another kid snatched her phone, ran through the hallway, broke the phone, and so my daughter, she was crying. She was just out of it. So as my wife was talking to my daughter to get information on what was going on, another teacher snatched the phone from my daughter as she was crying and hung the phone up on my wife. So we went to the school to say, not trying to cause a problem, just trying to get some information on what's going on. How can it is something that my child is doing? It is something that we haven't not done, and as of today, my wife can no longer come to the school. They actually banned her from coming to the property to pick my daughter up from school. And I work, and when they get out of school, I'm at work, so there's no way for me to pick her up or drop her off. But they told her she cannot come on the property, so they have to walk from the foot of the driveway, which is on the main road, the street side of the school, and walk in. So we're trying to see if, other than removing them from the school, and it's only 2 more months left. Other than that, is there some kind of legal action that we can take against the school to try to get this problem situated?
Well, I mean, the short answer is there probably is. Which part of Michigan?
The school is in Southfield, Michigan.
Okay. And Southfield, that's outside of, is that in the Detroit area?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, again, a lot of it has to do with the rules and the Board of Education rules, or whatever the school control entity is there. And so we would probably want to have some of our Michigan people connect with you and try to take a look at that. And again, it may not get resolved, but you want to make sure that you're filing with the school board, or whichever appropriate entity whatever you need to file, not only to address the conduct, but to address whatever the needs of the child are and other matters that may have been connected with the conduct against your daughters.
Okay. My kids have never been in trouble. Both of them are straight A students. I mean, it has happened ever since my daughter decided to go to a different high school other than the school that they're connected to. And ever since we requested her transcripts, it's been an ongoing issue. All of a sudden, she can no longer talk to anyone in the office. She can't go to any other class. I mean, it's an ongoing thing, and it's mostly the personnel in the office. It's not the teachers, other than this one. It's just the office personnel that is the biggest issue.
Okay, all right. So again, and that may be the place to start. So, we're going to have to connect with our Michigan folks so that they can connect with you.
Okay.
All right. So Patrice needs to make sure that we get your email or the best way to connect with you.
Okay. How do I put it in the chat, or you just want me to give it to you?
I think it's better if you just put it in the chat. Is that right? Yes. Patrice sent you a message. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I guess he just responds to your message. Yeah. All right. You can just respond to Patrice's message. All right. So it's 9 o'clock and obviously we're going to have to wind down. So let me check very quickly. So we have I have Sheila Henriquez. Are you with us still?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, Sheila. How can we? What's your issue? What is it that we can try to assist you with?
It's much like what Patricia Thomas were talking about as far as common ownership communities.
Okay.
So I just wanted to add to that some of the things that we also experience in these communities is like breach of fiduciary duties. These directors retaliate against you.
Okay. So are you part of the same? You're part of the same group?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So then, all right. So we're on that, and so you'll be plugged right into what we do there. Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Let's see. May Waters. Okay. All right. Miss Shelton.
Hi, I came to you before. I don't have my camera on because I am
That's okay.
so, just drained. I don't like talking about what I'm going to discuss, but you got to do it. Anyways, I spoke to you before. You sent me to Attorney Schmelkom. Attorney Schmelkom sent me to an attorney. The attorney turned down my case saying that there was no facts. So I hired an investigator. The investigator found some facts. So I'm wondering, do I go back to Schmelkom? I sent him the investigation report.
Okay.
Or did I have to come back to you guys first to?
No,
get
you
some notes?
can go back to Joel. I'll
Okay.
speak with Joel. I'll let him know that
Mhm.
you're going to reach back to him. Number one. Now, he is, this is, they're coming off their holidays. So I would probably wait until maybe Tuesday or Wednesday to reach out to him, and then and I'll make sure that I reach out to him, by email tomorrow to let him know that you're going to be reaching back to him again.
Okay. Okay.
All
Well,
right.
thank you.
All right. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, is Lily still with us? All right, Lily?
Hello?
Yes.
Yes, so I was on the last month's call and I wanted to discuss my case then. They had given me an attorney to give my case to, which I did. And then they came back and said they couldn't do it. Then they gave me another person. The reason why I was calling, because I know you had wanted everybody who couldn't make it for one of the sessions to kind of talk to you. So it's dealing with a fraud and a fraud upon the court case that has been ongoing and extremely egregious, where the court and the attorneys have participated in the cover-up. So it is a high profile. So I'm trying to see when I can kind of talk to you guys in regard to getting some help. We tried to go to the civil rights department to get help there, didn't get no help there. It's a major issue. The court will not address the fraud and the fraud of court because it makes them accountable.
Right. Okay. What part of the country are you in?
We're in New Jersey.
Okay. All right. And all right. So I guess you should just connect with Patrice, and then we can get caught up on what has already happened and then go from there.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. So I believe that may be it. I think the one person that we had reached out to was Amy Johnson. Did we speak with Amy? All right. All right. Well, Amy will.
Amy Johnson right here.
Where?
Hello. Amy. Hi.
Oh, okay. All right, Amy.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Have we spoken to you yet?
I wrote a comment. I wrote a comment in reference of my son.
Okay.
I was this last Saturday. A flyer about Patrice.
Okay.
I can't hear
you. You're breaking up.
Yeah,
some.
excuse me. I just took my head off. So. Okay.
All right.
You hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
So what? Now, can you just repeat what you had said?
Would have thought it, but I wrote my stuff on. I'm looking for. I need an attorney to help me out with a post conviction motion in my favor for my son Travis McIntosh.
Okay.
He's wrongfully convicted. He's been incarcerated ever since 2013.
Okay. What jurisdiction is he in?
They have him all the way up down in Attica.
Where?
In Attica.
Oh, okay. So that's New York State. Okay. All right.
Yes.
All right. So, and you said we have your information?
Well, I put my phone number and stuff down on my
Okay. All right.
and saying what I need or whatever. Yes.
Okay. So we will circle with you in the morning and take it from there. All right. All right.
Okay, thank you.
So that's a wrap for us. Before we go, I saw Kyle. We want Kyle, before we go, Kyle, we want you to say hello to everybody. Kyle Edmonds is one of the Legal Night team attorneys. We thank him for being with us. Good evening, Kyle. You can help sign us off tonight.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Hardy and everyone. I'm so sorry I wasn't here earlier. I wanted to support Royce. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it sooner, but it seems like it was a great evening as usual. Thankful for National Action Network, Mr. Michael Hardy, Patrice, Derek, all the support staff. Really appreciate it. Definitely a service needed for our community.
All right, and Kyle, we appreciate you. Thank you for being on. All right, we want to thank Attorney Royce Russell. We want to thank Attorney Ed Parchetto. We want to thank Attorney Kyle Edmonds. We want to thank all of our legal night attorneys. But again, most importantly, we want to thank all of you. We want you to make sure you hold us to what we have indicated that we will do to help follow up with you. So make sure that these connections happen. Again, we're going to see you again on May 26th, which is the last Thursday in the month of May. But in between that, of course, you can always call 877-626-4651 to connect with us at any time between now and our next legal night. With that said, I want to thank Ashley for keeping us all connected. Patrice, the rest of our NAN staff, Derek Perkinson, who was on with us throughout the evening. We want to thank him. I also just want to say that I know Victor Pate, our second chance leader and the head of our second chance committee, was on for a while, and we'll probably reach out, in fact, to Victor Pate because some of the issues that some of you raised with regard to individuals who are incarcerated are things that Victor can also help point us in the right direction in trying to help you. And again, we just want to thank all of you who just came on to participate and spend this time with us. We really appreciate it. So on behalf of everyone here at National Action Network and Reverend Al Sharpton and our chairman, Dr. W. Franklin Richardson, we say good night, God bless you. And we will follow up with those that we're following up with, and we'll see everyone else on May 26th. Thank you. Good evening.
Hey, Mike.
Yep.
Yeah, you want me to hold on, or you gonna you got my
Yeah.
information?
Why don't you, Michael? Why don't you just call? You still got my number?
No, Mike.
All right. So call
that
me
was-
right now. Just call the 212. You with me?
212.
Yeah, 690-3070. Call right now.
Got you, man.
All right. I'll talk to you in a